Now, the root challenge facing the FCC on the broadband front is to incentivize carriers of all stripes, fiber, cable, wireless, satellite, to extend their footprints and to continually invest in their networks. Now, this is not to say that maximizing competition is the proper objective. If it were, then we would advocate for 8 wireless carriers in a market currently served by 5, or for mandatory unbundling obligations of wireline providers in markets already served by 2. Instead, the proper objective of the regulator is to maximize consumer welfare, which often points in the same direction as maximizing competition. But the two goals can conflict when policy would stimulate entry at the expense of undermining investment. So what does maximizing consumer welfare mean in the broadband context? To begin, it means removing barriers that discourage competitive entry and refraining from imposing artificial barriers that do the same. On the wireless front, the key entry barrier in our mind is limited spectrum, which today is not allocated to its most valuable use. Although the FCC appears to be moving heaven and earth to find new spectrum, if the newfound spectrum is allocated or awarded in a way to maximize the number of wireless carriers, that is to maximize competition, then we will miss out on a tremendous opportunity to advance consumer welfare. Policymakers must appreciate that the demand for bandwidth-intensive applications and the cost of supplying these networks are driving the industry toward consolidation. Recognizing these massive economies of scale and the fact that wireless is poised to be a significant competitive restraint on cable modem prices, the ideal structure of the wireless industry might be a lot closer to 2 or 3 providers. On the wireline or fixed broadband front, outdated regulation is the largest barrier to network expansion. Policymakers should eliminate the carrier of last resort regulation, quality of service metrics, and other vestiges of a regulatory regime that was designed for copper telephone lines, a technology whose time has passed. Freed from such obligations, fiber-based broadband providers could migrate their legacy technologies to IP. Under the current rules, telcos are forced to operate 2 separate systems. This raises their costs and thereby impairs their ability to compete effectively against cable modem providers. Consider this fact. According to the Columbia Institute for Teleinformation, nearly 50% of wireline capital expenditure is devoted to maintaining the old legacy network. Thus, relieving telephone operators of their obligation to invest in these outdated technologies will free up significant capital resources to invest in products that consumers actually want.